Hey, welcome to the CMO Whisper Show. I'm your host, Steve Olensky. Part marketing practitioner, part ad agency veteran, part journalist. I was a writer for Forbes for 10 years. I've had so many insightful conversations over the years with business leaders, to athletes, to celebrities, to, of course, CMOs. The only difference now is instead of sharing those insights through written form, I'm doing it this way. My guest today is Heather McLeod, Chief Marketing Officer at BNI, someone who turns big global strategy into marketing that actually works. Now, she's built her reputation on cutting through noise and focusing on what actually drives growth, scaling a community of more than 345,000 members across 70 plus countries without losing what it makes it human. Wow. At a time when everything is digital, automated, and AI-driven, she's right at the center of something just as powerful, making a comeback. Real in-person connection. That speaks to my heart. Oh my God. Relationship marketing, community, and the idea that business still gets done between people, not platforms. No fluff, just what works. Heather McLeod, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You are very, very welcome. And if this is even half the conversation we had off air, everybody's in for a treat because you are an absolute gem.
Thank you. I'm excited. Yeah, this is a topic I think you and I both can get kind of passionate about. So I think we're in for a
Absolutely.
fun chat.
Absolutely. And I'm going to start right from the beginning, or kind of the beginning of, you're known for focusing on what actually works, as my intro said. Where would you say that mindset of kind of simplicity, right? Focusing on actually works, but where would you
Yeah.
say that mindset comes from?
I think it comes from realizing pretty early in my career that the head of marketing's best friend is the CFO. And if I wanted money to get things done, I needed to prove that I was doing things that drove revenue. And so oftentimes I would joke and call myself like the unsexy marketer because I would dive into things like what's happening in the call center? Are we maximizing all these leads that we're getting? That gray area that sometimes lives between marketing and operations. But I found that oftentimes there was a lot of juice left to squeeze out of, leads that we were getting from revenue we were already spending. And so I just kind of made it my mission to dig in and really focus on areas that were low-hanging fruit to try and drive more revenue for any organization I was a part of.
For those not familiar, the Reader's Digest condensed version, what's BNI? What do you do?
Yeah, Business Network International. So we are the world's largest referral organization. So country by country, we meet weekly as chapters and help small business owners grow their businesses through structured meetings that help them generate referrals. Really, we're just a mechanism to help build trust among individuals and to help them grow their businesses. So it's a funny thing because I spent 15 years in marketing for pretty large franchise brands, and I would tell our franchisees, "You should go join a BNI chapter. You should go join a BNI chapter." And now here I am on the other side of the table.
Funny how life works like that, right?
Yeah.
It really does. Okay. When you first stepped into your role at BNI, what did you immediately see that needed to change or sharpen, or what were some of your first, I need to fix that, or maybe not fix, but address?
Yeah, BNI is a really interesting organization because of the emphasis on people and relationships. It makes it a very powerful organization culturally to be a part of, and its core values permeate the business in a way I've never seen before, which is like a dream to a marketer to have, individual chapter members in BNI chapters know that our core value is givers gain and they know what that means. It blew my mind. But then on the flip side, there was so little time and effort that had been put into kind of traditional marketing infrastructure. Things like our digital presence and how easy it is or could be to sign up to visit a chapter by going to our website. They had really been singularly focused on growth via relationships. So, my goal really for my first year or two here at BNI is to put in the foundation that a traditional marketer would to try and accelerate the rate by which we're growing year over year.
Gotcha. I don't know if you're aware of this, but everybody's talking about AI. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Hot topic, fresh take.
But as I said in the intro, you're seeing, and you're a big believer in in-person networking coming back strong, right?
Yes.
What do you think is behind that resurgence, if you will?
Now, I'll give you a couple examples, but I think AI has made it easier for people to produce polished things quickly. So if you think about it, like think of how many things that you read now online that you see someone post on LinkedIn or an email that someone sent you and you know it was written by ChatGPT. You can feel it, right? You see the M dashes, you see the phrasing and you're like ChatGPT. And on the surface things might look like better, more organized, but I think people can feel the inauthenticity in some of that. And a great example I'll give you that I think is super easy for everybody to relate to. This is kind of older technology, but it's like when you pick up the phone and you call into a call center and you hit the auto routing system that tries to help support your answers to your questions. And it's not that it doesn't work, but it's like you really just want to talk to someone. Like I just really want to connect with a person who I can vent my frustrations to and hopefully get resolution. And I think AI is in a lot of ways the same. I think people recognize it. I think we're going to get sharper and sharper at recognizing it the more and more we're exposed to it. We don't always know why it feels off, but we know that it does feel off. So when everything is scripted and everything is super organized, it starts to feel interchangeable and nothing really stands out. And that's why I think the being in person, being face to face, and building authentic relationships is even more important than it's ever been before.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, um, and I have proof of this back to my Forbes days. I write with M dashes.
I always have too, and I feel like now people think of like that's I write like I talk, and
So
so
do I.
that's how I.
And I refuse to stop using M dashes. So anybody listening, if you see something on LinkedIn, you're going to see M dashes, but I wrote it. How's that? I felt the need to.
Totally fair. Same goes for me. Same goes for me. I feel like it's made me a little paranoid though, to tell you the truth.
I get it, but anyway, do you think brands? I don't want to get societal because that's really deep. So we'll keep it in
Yeah,
the context of brands. Do you think they're underestimating brands? I mean, how much people actually want real connection right now?
I do. I do, and I think some brands intrinsically are good at this and have been doing it for a long time. I don't think there's anything new about people wanting to connect. I don't think that's anything that's like all of a sudden unique, but I think the overemphasis of AI, just like most things in life, I think a lot of things are kind of on a continuum or they're like a pendulum. And sometimes you kind of swing too far one way and then you kind of crave what's on the opposite side and it pulls you back towards neutral. But there have been a lot of brands that have been doing really cool stuff with in person for a long time. If you think about things like Nike and all of the, customization of product and recommendations of product via app, but then, hey, come out in person and join a running club. Like, it's trying to tie the brand to personal experience and relationship building and connection and community. I think good brands have always done that and tried to do that. I think right now it's the conversation has taken a little bit more of a backseat because everything's been focused on AI as, a way to do more faster, to scale bigger and better. And so I think we've just stopped talking about community in the same way as maybe we did going into and around COVID because I think we really felt it back then.
Completely agree. And the converse to that is how would you say like digital fatigue shows up in the real world?
I mean, I think it shows up a lot. I think marketing fatigue shows up a lot in the real world. I was going through TSA the other day and there was an advertisement printed in the bottom of the bin that I put my bag in to send it through the scanner. I mean, there's messaging everywhere. There's messaging everywhere. And I think fatigue on messaging is real. I think you start to tune stuff out when it's everywhere and especially when it's not really saying anything particularly unique or poignant to who I am as a person, as a consumer. So, I mean, I think it's everywhere. I will tell you though, I did just see one of the best commercials I think I've seen in a very long time. And oddly enough, I have no idea how much of this was done by either an individual or done by tech, but I thought it was hilarious. And it's been a long time since I saw a commercial that I really laughed at, and it's the Buffalo Wild Wings bottomless appetizers with the buffalo bottomless, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, "Look, they blurred out the buffalo, like he's wearing bottomless chaps, like, that's really funny." So, I think people create now, I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know who did that, but it felt really funny and it felt really real to me, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna bank that that wasn't computer
Well,
idea
listen, it it
generated.
it did the ultimate goal, and you know this as a marketer, it touched your emotions.
Exactly,
It
it made
moved
me laugh.
right, it moved you to some emotion. So, that to me is a win.
I agree,
So
I
you t
agree.
we talk about a lot of relationship marketing, and I know you're a massive proponent of it, and you've seen it outperform just straight digital. So, why does relationship marketing still work, and will it always work?
I think it will always work. I think that's an easy one. I think it will always work. I think the thing that's been interesting about digital, and I'm a digital marketer by background. I mean, that's the path I came up through. And so I have a love for it. And I think it is an important part of anybody's strategy. I am a big believer in diversification as a part of a healthy marketing strategy. We like to put our dollars in the bucket that give us the most return first and kind of waterfall from there. But I think they're all important because things can change. And, you know, if we had been talking about relationship marketing in March of 2020, we would be having a little bit of a different conversation because COVID, caused some things that caused us to pivot. Now, thankfully, B and I was able to pivot to online and continue on our track record of all these years of continuous growth. But I think the thing that's challenging about digital is with digital, you're always like one click away from being outbid by someone else. Money can dramatically impact how your strategy performs. And it's really easy to be kind of disintermediated. It's easy to be pushed out of the way and to be replaced by a competitor when it comes to digital. And that doesn't happen with relationships. Not to say that all of our relationships don't change over time, but it is much harder for a competitor to replace a trusted relationship than it is when we're talking about digital. So it's a much more kind of stable, secure channel in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So where do companies get it wrong? I mean, we're all consumers, first of all, right? We all know that. So we all have our own relationships with different brands and any company, like you just said, you saw that ad at the bottom of the bin, right? That's a company looking to establish a relationship. So where do companies still get it wrong when they try to scale relationships? Is it a matter of being too creepy kind of thing and sharing too much that we know about you kind of thing? Or what do you think it is?
So, marketing in general, I think the biggest mistake that people still make is the one that they've made forever, and it's trying to be everything to everybody. And when it comes to relationship marketing, the same kind of basic principle applies. So, we teach this thing in BNI where we basically teach people how to stand up and introduce themselves and communicate what they're looking for from the group. And one of the things that people default to do, marketers do it, I think we as humans just do it. We assume that by being specific, we're being exclusionary. So if we try to be a specific thing to a specific group of people, we're worried that everyone else, will miss the point or, we're leaving people out who could possibly be customers of our brand or, we're not communicating this giant laundry list of things we can do. But it's kind of that old adage, right? That by trying to be everything to everyone, we end up kind of being nothing. So I think that premise definitely applies when we're talking about relationship building as well. So we teach to say something very specific, talk about something super specific that you need, that your business provides, and ask the room to help you connect with people who have that exact need. So something as super specific as a realtor standing up and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for people who are looking to buy a house in this specific neighborhood, in this specific part of town," versus just, "I'm looking for everybody who's trying to buy or sell or do this or do this." So I think that is still kind of a problem in marketing just across the board, whether it's relationship or otherwise, is that, whether it's the marketers ourselves being afraid to be specific or it's the other people who are involved who have a voice in what marketing does, not wanting, to quote unquote pigeonhole a brand, but missing the point that sometimes when you're so broad, it's hard to really get your point across to this specific group of people you're trying to target.
So you said something a few minutes ago about the mistakes that brands make about trying to be all things to all people. That gets exacerbated to the millionth degree with a company like yours, where you're operating across 70 plus countries, right?
Yeah.
So that's even how do you like how do you keep that global consistency without losing that local relevance, if you
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. We are crystal clear in what we're doing at BNI. It is our vision to change the way the world does business, period. And that at the core kind of who we are and what we're trying to do, that simplicity scales. Complexity breaks when you're trying to go across as many countries as we are. So being very, very simple and clear about who we are and what we do. When BNI was first created, the meeting that we have every week with every chapter all around the globe, the agenda for that fits on one sheet of paper. It's about as simple as you could get. Right? Now, how that's executed locally, it's the same. You can go to a BNI meeting, and I have in other countries and other languages, and I have no idea what anybody is saying. But because I know the format of the meeting, I know what's happening as it's happening in the room. So the standardization for us to keep everything from breaking, it's the simplicity around the what. The local piece sometimes comes in the how, right? It's about how we're attracting people into BNI. It's about the specific messaging that works to explain what we're doing. And some of that is different market by market. But the actual execution of the business model is the same country by country by country. Because you're right, we're now up to I think as of the end of this month it'll be 77 countries.
Mm,
That's a lot.
it's a
That's
lot.
a lot of countries.
A lot of
That's a lot of countries. It is.
language. So what take what you guys are doing at BNI and step up and take a step back to those listening who are operating across multiple countries. What are some things they can take from what you're doing?
Yeah. I think one of the core beliefs that we have as an organization. We call it talent on territory, but it's this idea that we need to have people in market who are executing in market. You can't run BNI in the Netherlands from Charlotte, North Carolina. We have to have talent on territory, on the ground, people who are from the culture, connected to the culture, who understand both the business model and the market in which they're operating in. So I think that's a big one. I think that's a big one, and that's probably if you're a business who's going from being primarily U.S. or North America based to expanding into Europe or something else, it's probably one of the first pain points people feel is trying to execute from one place in another place. And so for us, having talent on territory is incredibly important, especially because we're in the relationship
Mhm.
business. We need to have someone in market who's building those relationships. So I think that's one that stands out as an important one because you need to have voices from all of those different countries being able to speak up on behalf of kind of that local culture to help the rest of the team understand where some of those differences are so that we all start to think with a more global mindset.
Yeah, and that sounds so simplistic, right? But that's the point. Like you just said
Yeah.
you're on calls or reading things. You have no idea what you're reading or listening to, but you have faith and trust in the people that do.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. My first international trip for BNI, I went to Austria and I went to Poland. And I went to a BNI chapter meeting in Poland. I don't I don't speak a word of Polish. Like, I had no idea what was happening, right? And they had an interpreter for me sitting with me, and, like, a couple minutes in, I was like, Don't even, it's okay." Because literally the format of a BNI chapter meeting is the exact same thing, whether you're in, Charlotte, North Carolina, you're in Poland, Austria, anywhere that we operate, Vietnam, the structure is the structure. And so once you know what's happening in a meeting, you know what you're watching happen around you because the format is the format is the format, which is really kind of cool. Like I thought it was really powerful. I'm like, man, I have no idea what this person is talking about, but I know that he's standing up, giving his, 30-second, 60-second presentation on what his business is and what he's looking to gain from being in this chapter meeting. And it's kind of cool once you kind of are familiar enough with the business to understand that what you're watching.
Yeah, and I love that the brand is that consistent, right? because you don't understand a word they're saying, but you know the format is going to be the same no matter where you're at.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And that's a great lesson. Okay, let's throw your CMO hat on, agnostic of BNI.
Yeah.
What should CMOs be focused on today, in your opinion?
Man, we started this by saying I'm a super simple back to basics kind of girl, and I am, and I am. And so to give one answer where there's not really probably one answer, it's whatever is the largest revenue driver of your business and plugging the holes in the funnel where you can to try and capture as much revenue as possible. So in my past life in home services, that had a lot to do with how easy or hard we made it to to marry capacity and demand. So I think that's something that's maybe not often talked about enough when it comes to marketing because it's a function that lives, it's an issue that lives kind of in the intersection of marketing and operations or product or delivery. But I'll tell you as a consumer, it is my biggest pet peeve when I'm doom scrolling at night and I'm advertised something on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I click to go and buy it and it's out of stock.
Mm,
Why are you advertising something to me if I can't even buy it, right? So for me, that intersection of demand and capacity is where a lot of efficiency comes from, but it's also where, you can put your marketing dollars to work in a way that have a more predictable revenue generation
yep,
number attached to them.
yep.
And so that's always been the space that I play in. Like I know that a lot of marketers are kind of, sexy brand marketers. I'm a nitty-gritty kind of girl. I'm in the nuance of trying to squeeze as many dollars out as I can out of the system. So I would say that's always where I would focus on. And that might be in, the marrying of inventory to advertising to demand, or it might be capacity in terms of how many appointments can we book for service, if you will, relative to what we're pushing or promoting or advertising.
Yeah.
But that's the space that I think is the most fun to play in because it drives real revenue real fast.
Could not agree more. And I love the fact that you kind of married the two of identify what's going to drive the most revenue, right? But then also do everything in your power to make sure that path to purchase is as
Yes.
seamless and easy as possible. Because I do the same thing as a consumer. If I get hung up on that path to purchase, I'm gone.
I'm out. I'm out. And it's the funny thing is, right, if we were talking about this 10 years ago, we would be talking about, a specific industry and comparing competitors in an industry. But, Amazon, the great equalizer. Now everybody wants everything to be as easy to purchase as like the one button click or the integration with, Apple Pay or anything like that. I don't want to manually enter my address anymore. I don't want to manually enter a credit card number. Like I want it to be as easy and simple as possible for people to take my money. I really do. I think most people do.
Exactly. I'm on the lot. I want to buy.
Yes. Yes. Make it easy. Don't make it hard. Because if it's too hard, I'm just gonna quit and go do something
I'll
else.
go to the
I'm just
next lot.
gonna, you're gonna lose my attention span. I mean, we're goldfish, right? Isn't that what they say? 6 seconds is about how long we have. Better make it easy. I don't know. Man, this relationship building we're doing.
All right. Hey,
I
here's
love it.
one for you. I want you to think about this. What's one belief that Heather McLeod has about marketing that most people may disagree with? What's your most like controversial, you think, take on just the world of marketing that people go
The most controversial marketing take.
or belief? Like, what is that you that other people would disagree with? Is there one?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, do I wanna say this out loud, though?
Nobody's listening. Come on.
God. Yeah, nobody's this is not gonna come back to bite me
Nah.
later.
Not like I'm recording it or
It's
anything.
bad. So, listen, I don't think it's probably not super surprising to people who know me well, especially given all the things I've said about, like, where I focus and how I think. I think that brand as it used to exist is probably dead. I think it's a little overrated, and I'm not really a big believer in brand awareness as a solo. I do think there's benefit of people, clearly knowing about your brand, but kind of to my point earlier, I don't think that you need the entire globe to know about your brand. I think you need people who are the people who you want to do business with and who you want to be your customers, or a specific subset of them need to know about your brand. But I've never been a really big fan of super, 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 super high funnel spend, high funnel activity. I'm a I'm a deeper down the pipeline kind of girl.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, it's time for some fun.
I hear hearts breaking everywhere. Brand marketers' hearts are breaking everywhere.
You'll get over it. Trust me. And if they can just reach out to you directly, I'll give them your home phone number. No, I'm kidding.
Perfect. Thank God I got rid of that landline.
Just come to me first and then I'll connect you with Heather. How's that? Okay, it's time for the random five. If you've listened to my show, I ask five very random, very personal, get to know you questions. So if you're game, and quite honestly, even if you're
Yes.
not, you're already here. So you're kind of stuck. So,
Fair enough.
first question: what's something about you that people would never guess from your professional bio?
Ooh, I know how to juggle.
Interesting.
Yes.
Self taught?
I learned how to juggle, oddly enough, in elementary school in Texas. They taught us how to juggle in PE. So I, along with an entire crew of kids my age who are now adults from New Braunfels, Texas, can juggle.
What are we talking here? Balls? Chainsaws? What are we talking?
Definitely not chainsaws. Slow fall, lighter objects. So we could say like on a bad day, handkerchiefs. On a good day, hacky sacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because I don't know how to juggle, I would love to learn. Is it like riding a bike though? You just never forget?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like one of those motor skills that, like, you have to once you learn it, you're a little rusty sometimes at first, but no, it comes right back. Yeah, and I'm sure we could find that old video series that they used to teach us, and you too could learn to juggle.
You sound like that
There
sounds
you
like an
go.
ad. You too can learn to juggle in 5 you you're
Well, you know, I am a marketer.
you're
What can I
such a
say?
mark I was just gonna say okay,
Can't help myself.
I know. What's your guilty pleasure song that you know every word to?
God, there's so many. I love September by Earth, Wind& and Fire.
Oh, I knew you were a kindred spirit. That's on my album wall behind me. You can't see it. I don't think it's blocked.
Oh, yeah?
Earth, Wind& and Fire, September. Every September 21st, it's Earth, Wind& and Fire Day.
Same, I love it. I love it. It's I say it's a guilty pleasure. People who know me well know that I'm obsessed with that song, so it's probably not surprising to them, but I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
I'm in. I'm sold. Okay, next one. How do you, Heather McLeod, define a really great day?
Oh my gosh, a great day. I would love to start my day, and I try most of the time, but I don't always get it. I love to have a cup of coffee sitting outside. I love to have 20 or 30 minutes either alone with my thoughts or reading, but not with a device. No cell phone, no laptop, just kind of starting my day. Like, great day would be normally involving something to do with family. So whether that's dinner with my family or some kind of like family activity, if we've got somebody that's got a sporting event or something like that, love that. I love football season, but I also love a day at the beach. So maybe like, I don't know, maybe it's Earth, Wind& and Fire Day where I can be at the beach and watch a football game all in September. So
It's
those are
possible.
my I'm a pretty simple girl, you know. I just like nice, calm, relaxing.
I love that. Earth, Wind& and Fire Day, watching football on a beach.
Yeah, you
I
know.
think we can make that happen.
I
Okay.
know, and I saw your Eagles gear, so
Yeah.
I know you're a football
Gotcha.
fan too.
Oh, I bleed green for sure. Okay, next question. When is Heather McLeod the hardest on herself?
That's an easy one. I am the hardest on myself when I feel like I am not providing as much as I could be for our franchise owners. So I've spent my career in franchising, and part of why I love that so much, again, is the relationships I get to build with these business owners who are, you know, entrusting me, provide them the resources and tools they need to grow from a marketing standpoint. And I am the hardest on myself when I can't move as fast as I want to move and as I know that they need me to move to support them. So I always feel like a little bit of like, man, I wish I could be giving them more and giving them more faster. But we're on the right path and there's a lot of great stuff coming. But that's the one where I'm the hardest on myself is when I don't feel like I'm doing enough fast enough. But there's only one of me. So I try to remind myself of that.
Until AI comes along and replicates, but
And then, yeah, and then there'll be like 60 million bots of me doing I don't know what all day, but
you have your own
something,
agent.
I'm
They have
sure.
their own agent. They don't need Heather. They have the Heather agent.
Yeah, there you
Last
go.
question. What's one movie you've seen way too many times, but you still love?
I mean, so many, but When Harry Met Sally.
I'll have what she's
I
having.
love When Harry Met Sally. Yeah, I love it. I love everything about that movie. I love, again, the relationship dynamics that it unpacks. Can men
Mhm.
and women really be friends? And then I love the kind of coming full circle at the end that as soon as you realize how you want the rest of your life to look? Do you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible?
You're an old school romantic, I can tell.
I am. I'm a softie. Yeah, for
I'm the
sure.
same way. I've seen that movie a bajillion times. Every time he says that line, I start to cry.
Yeah, I love
No.
it.
Well, listen, I knew this would be a blast. I knew it was going to go by fast as well.
Oh my gosh, it did. It flew.
It did, which that means it's a great conversation. And that's all on you. Just get out of your way. Thank you so much. You are an absolute treat. And I already look for the part two. So thank you again.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the CMO Whisperer Show. I hope you shared this episode with your friends. And if you have not already, please subscribe to be kept up to date on all the latest episodes. And if you're so inclined, leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.